Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to a wonderful, beautiful morning. Let's start our wonderful morning by bowing in gratitude to all the divine beings in and around us, that surround us, that guide us, mentor us, nurture us, and keep preparing us for our elevation, our ascension. So let's know it in us that all us earthlings are ascending because spirituality has dawned on new energy since 2020 and it's accelerated all of our ascension really fast, which is why most of us have gotten attracted to working on ourselves and seeing the light, discovering the love that is there in depths of us. With this newfound energy in the universe, supporting each one of us to move up and up in our life in terms of spirituality, in terms of good energy. May we all be guided, protected, mentored, nudged at the right time, at the right place to go deeper in this journey of discovering who we are. May we find meaning, purpose to our own existence. May we not just work for ourselves or our families or our work front, but beyond this, for mankind, for human beings, for this race. May each of us at least help one other soul in their ascension by showing them love, by showing them light, and by sharing our light right here, right now, and whenever possible. The more light we share, the more lit we become. To empower, encourage, enliven, and enlighten is our journey. May we tune into that each one of us is born for this reason also. When we talk about our soul's journey, each one of us is tapping within. And when we tap within, let's be conscious of our wonderful breathing. No planned deep inhalation, just be aware of your wonderful flow of breath. This magical gift which has been given to us thanks to our soul. If there was no soul, there was no life. May we realize that the speed at which the light is entering each one of us is also higher. And this does change the DNA in some ways, or the energy quotient in our body in some ways. So it could be that we feel detached from the world. We feel distant from our responsibilities. We feel that we are gaining weight. But let's understand it's not weight. It's the water in our body which is staying on, sticking on, which is why you may feel bloating, flatulence. Now, why would water stick to a body when the energy is going high? When the energy is going high, when the light is becoming brighter, then the darkness needs to fade. Now, equate it with a yard of your house. In that yard, there is black residual muck. There is stuck dirt and grime on the floor. Now, if you just take a cloth and you try to clean it, superfluously or cleaning, but it can't deliver the clear results. Unless you fasten a hose pipe and put water in good speed, water in lesser speed will be slower in result. But now that there's more ascension happening and we're equating it to the same theory, the faster and the more force of water there is, the more the grime and the dirt and the muck will be washed away. The same concept runs with our body. If we need to get out of the dark world, the light force increases. When the light force increases, the water tends to remain more because it wants to just give you more movement. But when we feel that the ascension is going higher, and when we realize and we understand, okay, this water is staying with me for a reason, the weight is there with me for a reason, all of a sudden there is immediate balance. Then there is no resistance from our side because we are in the mode of acceptance. When we are accepting and we're realizing that, oh my Lord, I am going through ascension with Mother Earth. And that is the way my body is retaining some kind of pains and aches. Spiritual awakening doesn't bring pains and aches, but Kundalini awakening brings pains and aches to some next level. You can see any of the symptoms that are coming in your body, and you will realize that I am going through a spiritual awakening. I am going through an ascension. It is the time now to be in tune with what is happening in our inner world. All of a sudden, you may feel that the friends I've had for life are dropping away because you're going through ascension, your energy is higher, your light is burning brighter, and they're still probably in the dark zone. So if you are going uplifting yourself higher, obviously they're on the lower realm. Again, you could equate it with the building. The building has 8 floors. You have reached the 6th floor and you began your journey on the ground floor, and you all as a friend circle reached on the 2nd floor. Friend circle, family, whatever. But you have had an ascension really fast and your lift button presses itself to 6. Now you're on the 6th floor, but your friends and loved ones on the 2nd floor. So then you may say, but it doesn't feel good to be here on the 6th floor. But if you're feeling that, then you're not on the 6th floor. If you're on the 6th floor, things are opening up to you. There could be some frustration here that why is this happening to me again? Because we are not accepting that we are in the phase of spiritual ascension. And when we are in the phase of spiritual ascension, the body is the only beautiful identity that the soul has chosen for us to live our life. This body will also go through changes. So whether it's holding on to water, ultimately weight, or whether it's aches and holding on to aches and pains, or whether it's a shift of your moods and emotions. These are all part and parcel of our ascension. So let's be in tune with who we are, where we are, how we are. It's not by a mere coincidence that we are here plugged on in the mornings and enjoying a session. We are here connected with some reason. We have connected before, and we're connecting again. We have been together in other lives in some other way, and we are here again to help each other in our own stages of ascension. It could be that things feel great. Then there's positive ascension. But it could be that things feel negative. Even then, it's positive ascension. But it will become more positive if we learn to tune inwards and realize and accept it. I repeat myself. Whatever we resist persists is said by so many wise men and women before us. So if you're resisting these changes that are happening, then these changes are going to be persisting without change. So what do we choose? Acceptance or still denial? The choice is always ours. How is life for each one of us? Think about it. Is it very taxing? Or is it easy? Or is it a mix of both? What is required from us is to change our perspective a little bit more. If we start counting our blessings a little bit more, we will find more serenity, more balance, more calmness in us. If we start celebrating life for what it is, the way it is unfolding, then life will make itself so much more beautiful that we will be again celebrating. Because whatever we are giving energy to, it is in motion, emotion, energy in motion. So what emotions are we radiating out? Let's be in alignment with ourselves to understand that we are all in a very beautiful time and space and age. From here on, only good things are going to happen. Those of us who read the book Incredibly Believable, it's time for those lessons to be unfolded, those things to become a reality. Did we think 10 years ago that we could come together in the morning at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. and read books together as a community? And from the comfort of our own beds and our own homes, without having to dress up and drive or travel. The technology was absent. If you look at life, some people say it's becoming complicated. But again, complication is in the mind. Technology brings with its challenges. हम सदुपयोग कर रहे हैं, दुरुपयोग कर रहे हैं, हमारे ऊपर डिपेंड कर रहा है. Are we using it positively or are we abusing the power of the technology? If I become addicted to social media or any OTT or any kind of technology, then I am abusing the power. But if I'm using it beautifully in the right direction, I am learning and growing and developing myself every other moment. Again, the choice is always ours. When things are opening up, whatever we love is possible to learn without even spending money half the times. Isn't that magical? YouTube is a wonderful platform of teachers. Whatever we want to learn, all we have to do is type in and the video pops up. In the language of our choice, so much variety. So are these dark times or are these light times? For some of us who are aware, we know that Satyug is here. It's begun. The ascension has begun. And we are the lucky ones, the blessed ones, who are already part of it. While there are some friends of ours in the world, in Ukraine, in Russia, in Palestine, in Israel, who are at war, but that's also because the lower frequency humans have to take an early retirement. Now, be that small little children or women or men, it doesn't matter. Those of us who are not prepared for the ascension have had an early retirement. Many of us in COVID, many of us post COVID, and many just leave at the drop of a hat. These are all cosmic changes. So, in order to prepare ourselves a bit more, it's imperative that we do grounding every single day. Grounding is very, very essential for our own ascension, which means it's so simple that we can just take off our shoes or chappals and just walk on a green grass. If you have garden in the house, fantastic. If you don't, there are parks outside. Just walk. Hug a tree. These nurture to the next level. Stay hydrated. If you feel parched, drink. There are at times we eat food, but that's actually not hunger, it's thirst. 70% of our body is water. Technically, whatever we have in a day, 70% should be water based, which means more of raw food. We have water, we have maybe charge with water, maybe salads which are more fiber based, which are more water based. And then also we are in an ascension state. It is not possible to have tamasic food and talk about sattvic thoughts. If we need to prepare ourselves for ascension, we need to change, or I would say automatically the diet plan changes. My spiritual awakening technically began when I was 12 years old. But in the spiritual world, in the right time, it began in 2019 when I was 41 years of age. That's when the light masters activated me in 2020 was a major change. But I was blessed that at the time of immediate change, again, a dear one came and I got the opportunity to share my light. Now, are we all sharing our light is a question. Because all of us need to activate the light. And it's very simple. Just helping one person also with his or her trouble, introducing him or her also to this world of spirituality is enough. Rather than gifting gifts, start gifting the books that made a difference in your life. If possible, start physical book groups, book clubs. And if that is too much, introduce them to maybe one series of books already available by so many people on YouTube or so many platforms. And if you have gurus in life, it's good to introduce your people who are struggling with them if they're not working on things commercially. And that you would know for sure that your teachers, your gurus are genuine people. Money taking is all right. If it's a profession, they will take money. If it's a Panditji, it's a Guruji, it's a teacher, they also will take money. It's fine. But are they greedy or are they just doing their dharma? and that you will know yourself. If there's doubt, just close your eyes and listen and ask for your angel guardians for their blessings, for their guidance, and you will get that answer. Because all the wisdom is in us. We have been reading Dr. Brian Weiss's books for over 50 days now. By now, each one of us is tuned and aware that we all have had many past lives. Even if we haven't done past life regression session, we are aware that we have had. And I would request you now to schedule your PLR on the coming Sunday at least. This is a beautiful time from new moon to full moon to check as to what's happening. And once you go through your own PLR, your belief will become magical. We read a story yesterday about how Nikhil was a skeptic, a psychiatrist from Canada, an Indian origin guy. But one of his friends who met him, not a friend, an acquaintance who met him at the conclave, wished and prayed that he gets a breakthrough and sees and has a PLR, and approached Dr. Brian Weiss to bring him on the stage and make him have a regression. And voila, doors opened. Your own frequency will change. Your understanding will change. Your vision of your past will help you bring that in the future. And if there's something traumatic, heal that in the past. The very awareness when you're out of a regression that this was something which needed healing, or this is something which is beautiful, we can do it ourselves. Okay, I heal this, I let go of this trauma. Masters, help me get away from this. Or if you're very uncertain, then rope in a professional. There are so many regressionists who are wonderful out there who are helping mankind in their ascension by activating the light in you. And so many of them are very beautifully doing these sessions online on Zoom. So you don't even have to really fly down or travel to their city, because that becomes expensive and time taking. And if you think that these regressionists are charging you 2.5, 3.5 for an hour, yes, there are prices to be paid. And they're not commercial. This is their fee. They have invested time, effort, money in learning these sciences. And this is their profession. So it's absolutely okay. Some say there are no free lunches. I say it's the way you look at it. What gives you pleasure is the question you need to ask yourself. Are you learning to dive deep within half-heartedly? Then what we're reading is absolutely perfect. But what we're reading needs to be implemented also for a perfect ascension. So spend time with yourself. Learn, evolve, meditate. Because these are the principles which will take you long in your journey towards ascension. Now tune back in with your breath work. Fold your hands and thank the masters for all the new learnings. For the opportunities to grow, to learn, to share. Request them, dear masters, dear angels, dear guardians, dear teachers, dear gurus, dear loved ones, in this realm or the other, in this dimension or the other, in this universe or the other, help me become a channel of love. Help me become a channel of light, where I shine bright, bright here, bright now, bright everywhere. Where I share my love unconditionally, where I spread positivity beyond boundaries, where I spread the knowledge of accepting who we are as a first step towards ascension. Accepting ourselves will become liking ourselves, will become loving ourselves, and loving ourselves will open the doors to divinity beyond boundaries. When that day will come that you look at yourself or your picture or your body part and you're like, it's all beautiful, even though it may have flaws. But now your version, your perspective towards seeing yourself would have shifted. And rather than looking like somebody else and comparing, you would be able to accept who the new you is. A true new beginning. Be blessed, my dear friends. Be blessed. With this, please expand your angel hearts and send out blessings to the world. May the light travel far and wide, deep and low, high and wide, wherever possible. May abundance prevail on everybody. May love take its final seed. May the undiscovered love finally be discovered as deep as possible. So it is. So be it. Lots of love and light to everybody. Let's start our wonderful day with our wonderful book, Miracles Happen. And with this wonderful book, Miracles Happen, today we're going to be reading the excerpt, the story about a monk's wisdom. Can someone confirm? This is where we left yesterday, right? Try and see about faces. So, okay. 1 second, my sharing didn't happen. All right. Once again. Why is the screen sharing paused? I'm not able to understand. I did share this book. You can't see the book, right? Just let me know because it says the screen sharing is paused. It's never happened before.
No, we're not being able to see it.
Sorry?
Not being able to see it.
Now it's loaded?
Yeah, yes, yeah, loaded.
But this is the other book. That's the problem. No, this is fine. Okay. Just trying to see, did we read about this? I do not know. Yeah, here we are. Okay. Yes. A monk's wisdom. I was at a workshop in New York State in 2008. I didn't have any past life memories, but I did experience profound meditations during those group sessions, as well as a very interesting meditation one evening with another participant. I was not a practitioner and had gone there on my own. One of the participants, a woman named Erin, was upset about two of her past life memories of which I knew nothing. I only knew that she was saddened. The next day, Brian regressed Erin to a prior lifetime that was rather criminal and violent. She sensed death and corruption, firearms even. It was not a nice place to be in. Another memory was of being a man in Southeast Asia, working on the land and the water, feeling lonely. Much sadness and dark shadows were in these memories, and loneliness prevailed. The next regression was to a place that would throw light on or explain these two regressions that brought such sadness. Erin found herself in a place of great learning, an ancient library with people sitting around a huge table and writing in all languages. Books, we read this yesterday. Yeah, I'm sorry, I do not know why it's. Hmm. Okay. Yes, community is where we start. I'm sorry for wasting your first few minutes, but I always believe something is meant to be, so it was. So here we start with community. All right. And I want to see if we have read this also 1%. No, we haven't. It took me years and accumulation of many synchronistic moments to arrange my schedule as a parish minister in order for me to attend Brian and Carol's past life regression therapy workshop at Omega Institute. Having incorporated hypnotherapy and Reiki into my parish ministry, I thought it might be interesting to add regression therapy to my repertoire of skills. Needless to say, I never expected the workshop to change my life in so many different ways. The first morning, Brian regressed the group. After going to a childhood memory and then back to the womb, he presented us with a door to our past lives. When I went through it, I wasn't prepared for what I was about to experience. Looking down at my feet, I saw that they clearly belonged to a mature woman of fairly comfortable financial means. The shoes were burnished brown dress shoes of leather in a sturdy but somewhat sophisticated style. The hose were a heavy nylon blend that reminded me of the kind that my grandmother used to wear. I was wearing a straight mid-calf brown wool skirt, a cream-colored blouse, and a strand of pearls and clip-on pearl earrings. My hair were brown as well, and it was drawn back in a roll that went from the sides of my head along the nape of my neck, forming a kind of U in the back of my head. I couldn't figure out how I got it to look that way. I was relatively slender and around 5'5", neither of which describes me now. I was standing near a window in which appeared to be my living or dining room. As clearly the top floor of an apart It was clearly the top floor of an apartment building as I was looking down towards the street below. The building across the street was similarly structured, and the facade was made out of stone or cement with some decorative molding along the roof line and across the window tops. This was clearly a cityscape. The room that I was in had high ceilings. The furniture was heavy but elegant in its own fashion. A crystal chandelier hung over a dark wood dining table. On the tables were strewn family pictures, jewelry, candlesticks, and other small objects. Several adult children and their spouses anxiously moved around. The kids were playing and chasing each other, but their parents seemed very agitated. We were waiting for something when my husband came to the door and announced that we needed to gather what we could and report to the train station in 1 hour. We were being deported to a work camp. My husband looked like my present husband, only taller and more slender. Brian had us move in the direction, and I found myself waiting at the train station and then in the cattle car. There was a horrible combination of fear, physical pain, terror, and claustrophobia. I felt like I was being crushed, which coincidentally is a phobia I've had during my entire present life. As Brian brought us out of regression, my tears came down in torrents. Now, understand this. If any of us have any phobia about anything, it is because we're carrying it in our cellular body, in our atomic body, from past lives into this present life. It hasn't been resolved. And it can only be resolved in two fashions by tapping the past life through either PLR, which is past life regression, or Akashic Records healing. They work similar. The only advantage I find in PLR is we ourselves are looking at our past life, so we become believers. In Akashic, we're dependent upon the Akashic reader. I work with so many people, and there have been uh, some people who come to me and who say, you know, it sounds very beautiful. And yes, what you're saying is there in this life. But do you make up a past life? How can you see a past life? I tell my masters and angels, please bless them. They're right now skeptics, make them into believers. So, which is the reason I first have started asking my people that I work with, that I heal now, that are you a believer? If not, it just doesn't feel right, because then you're not ready for healing. The other day, I introduced somebody I know very dearly in my in law's side to my mom's tarot reading. And that lady is gripped with depression. And I told her it's not depression, darkness of the soul. And she's like, nahi, depression hai. She's been telling people everywhere. When mom opened her cards, the tarot cards were beautiful, but said very categorically, she had created a veil around her. And she could only see the dark because she chose to see the dark. And this lady is then asking me on the WhatsApp message that, Beta, your mom's cards, are they true? Because all my cards came out so well. This is a sign of a disbeliever. People who are skeptics. When Akashic records open their past lives and they're like, nah, she must be making up. When a tarot reader opens cards and they're good, possible nahi, mere to techi lucky nahi hai. So if we are believers, we will not doubt the cards. If we are believers, we will not doubt the reader's reading. Who will get what out of it, especially when people are doing this with no money exchange? The only exchange is that because they have done an act of kindness, of healing for you, you have to do some kind of charity on their behalf on your own, so that you don't acquire and they don't acquire any karmic baggage. That's all there is. But there are many people who charge professionally. I look up to them as well, because they've realized that this is their field that they want to work on. But only go if you are a believer. I believe that you are in the morning sessions, you are a believer. But even if you're not a believer, which is fine, if you're a skeptic, which is fine, but go only if you want to believe and be healed. Because in Akashic records, also healing happens. Gifts are given by your masters, by your teachers. I did a reading for my daughter. She was given a rare gift by her ancestors. I told her this gift is coming to you from these 4 ancestors of yours, to which I also haven't met. I know they're my ancestors also. So it's so beautiful to see these wise people come down, help you, and you are just a conduit, you're just a channel. I love it because I know when my buddhi is not even at stake. I'm just reading the emotions, the guidance, and just channeling. So again, I request everybody, if you have a trauma or any kind of dar, usko nikal ke bahar kariye. You can't and you shouldn't live in that when you can live in bliss and pleasure and divinity. These soulful mornings are coming our way, not just with Dr. Brian's book reading, but with a new world opening for us, that there has been so much of possibility to grow in the past. There is so much of possibility to grow right now in the present. And whatever is left unfinished, we can complete the story in our next life, because we will never be born like brand new in terms of memory. Yes, memory tends to fade away completely. You don't remember about the past. But aren't we all privileged that we can tap into our past? Now, some people start saying, who are skeptics, कि कोई reason होगा ना कि हमें भगवान memory के साथ नहीं भेजते हैं. अगर भगवान हमें memory के साथ भेजने लग जाएंगे, तो हम कुछ नया सीख ही नहीं पाएंगे, because हमारी तो हजारों सालों की memory, हजारों lives की memory के साथ हम आएंगे, कितना clutter हो जाएगा. कितने कार्मिक बैगेजेस हैं. कर्मा किसके खत्म होते हैं? जो रॉन्ग हुआ उसको भूल जाते हैं, फॉरगेट करते हैं, फॉरगिव करते हैं. जो राइट हुआ उसको अप्रिशिएट करते हैं और आगे जाते हैं. तब पुराना हमारा हिसाब खत्म होता है, राइट? जब हम ऐसे क्लियरिंग 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 करते रहेंगे, तब जाके तुम बुद्धा बनेंगे. तो अब तक तो बुद्धू बने हुए हैं. सो एनलाइटमेंट के पाथ पे चलना, कि पथ पे चलना, थोड़ी सी एफर्ट हमारी लगनी पड़ेगी। हमें विश्वास करना पड़ेगा कि ये जो मोडालिटीज मिली हैं हीलिंग की, ढेर सारी मोडालिटीज हैं हीलिंग की, जो भी हमें पसंद आए उसको लेके हमें पुराने अकाउंट्स खत्म करने हैं। अब आप बोलेंगे पुराने अकाउंट पता ही नहीं मुझे, तभी तो पास्ट लाइफ है, तभी तो आकाशिक है। आप फिर रिकॉर्ड्स खुलवा के देखें क्या क्या है। There's somebody I've worked with 7 times, and she has had the most amazing lives with so much of trauma in them. And now she says, I can see with clarity. And every time she heals, I heal. So I thank, that's the reason I like to do this for my higher energy. A lot of people have told me, why don't you charge for it? I'm like, I'm not guided to charge for it till now. One day, if I am, then we'll see about it. I don't see that coming for some time at least. But yes, I like people to contribute towards their welfare. मुझे लगता है कुछ दिए बिना कुछ मिलता है तो कहीं ना कहीं कार्मिक बैगेज आता है. So आज आप लोग, if you joining the sessions and you're contributing, it's going towards, you know, underprivileged children's school classrooms being built. And isn't that beautiful that you're all part of it? That we are all part of it. So again, what are we doing? Sharing our light. हमने किसी को खाना खिला दिया तो उस समय पेट भर दिया, पर हमने किसी को शिक्षा का दान दिया या हम निमित्त मात्र बने तो हमने उसकी लाइफ में उजाला दे दिया. Isn't that so beautiful? That's what all of us are doing. अपने आप को शिक्षित कर रहे हैं ना अभी, स्पिरिचुअलिटी के, अध्यात्म के बारे में पढ़कर. So I think this is what is magical and this is what is soulful. And I hope it same resonates with each one of you. Back to the story that we were reading. On the second day of the workshop, Carol was looking for people who had had a regression experience on the first day and who would be willing to work with a cane, willing to work with her in front of the group. I told her my story as I limped forward with a cane due to a chronic knee problem and a limped forward, excuse me, a chronic knee problem and a recently crippling back ailment. She chose me to be her client and decided to go deeper into my first regression. I got a bit panicky, worrying that I wouldn't be able to get hypnotized, that I would only see a blank wall, or that being in front of the group would interfere with my ability to experience anything. Quite the contrary happened. The induction was like a slide into the deepest relaxation I'd ever experienced. Carol expertly guided me back to that memory of the train tracks. I learned that my husband was a doctor and that I had been his nurse. There are incredible chaos. There was incredible chaos at the train station with Nazi soldiers barking orders. People were terrified, children were crying, and everyone seemed to be turning to my husband and me for information and for calm. When we saw the cattle cars pull up, the sheer terror of it all started to corrode my otherwise stalwart character. But I tried very hard to hold it all in. The conditions were horrific: a bucket in the corner for urine and feces, one small window to let in light and air, the soldiers screaming to hold up the children so that they won't get crushed. It was impossible to sit down. There wasn't any room. My legs and back hurt terribly, just as they did in this lifetime. But I kept crying to soothe the grandchildren. I begged my children to have faith that God would protect us. I thought it couldn't get any worse. I was wrong. The train arrived at a camp far away. We had traveled for hours and it was difficult to climb down and walk. Everyone was disheveled, dirty, hungry, and scared. There was initial chaos and then more shouting of orders. This is where we were separated. The women began to scream when their husbands were taken away from us. But nothing prepared us for the children being ripped away. They told us they would all be together in a nursery, but by then none of us believed anything we were told. My daughter in law, and I, along with some of the other women we knew, were taken to a building where we were obligated to hand over our suitcases and give up our clothes. We were naked and cold. Someone lined us to cut our hair to avoid lice, they said. And we were marched into a large room for showers. The water was cold and there was no soap. Afterwards, we were given rough, scratchy shifts to put on, no towels. It was humiliating and degrading. As Carol guided me through this nightmare, I remembered telling the officers at the camp that I was a nurse. I'd heard that my husband was working as a doctor in the men's infirmary, but instead of using me in my professional capacity, they made me join the others and help move rocks to build a road. It severely hurt my back. Carol then brought me to my death. I did not die in the gas chambers. I died in the women's infirmary. I saw my husband one last time in the distance, and our eyes locked momentarily. I learned that he had found a way to get me into the infirmary. Had he bribed someone? My lungs were filled with fluid. My hands and feet were cold, dirty, and filled with sores. I was at least on a cot. Yet, I also remember that the few women who tried to attend to me were kind, even though they didn't have anything to help treat my condition. I was so appreciative just that they just left me alone. I tried my best to comfort and sustain those I met in the camps, even though I always felt that I couldn't do enough. I was grateful to die with a shred of dignity. I didn't know what happened to the rest of my family, but it also almost didn't matter. I knew we were connected in many ways that even the Nazis couldn't destroy. Death was welcome. Needless to say, it was a very emotional, informative session. For my whole life, I have suffered from a fear of being yelled at, scolded, or ridiculed. After such an episode, I feel like a dog he that has been whipped, and feelings of guilt and shame and fear fill me. Every cell in my body responds. Just before writing this, as I was going home from church, there was a policeman directing traffic at the end of the street. It is always difficult to make a left hand turn there, and I was thrilled that he could stop the traffic. As I was turning past him, he yelled, "Come on!" I felt sick all the way home. Why did he yell at me? I was going as fast as I could. It made me feel terrible inside, and I remembered my PLR to the Holocaust. I could hear the guards screaming at me to move faster, calling me names, making me feel inadequate and shameful. It was just an incredible revelation for me. I continue to feel a powerful healing process in my body and my spirit. I can't wait to continue this work on myself, and I see the tremendous potential for insight and healing for others. This regression was a great gift that was given to my life, but the story does not end there. Early in the morning of our last day together at Mega, I asked my guides in meditation to give me some names for validation. I received the names Ruth, Hiam, or Herman. I'm not entirely sure. I asked for a last name so I could check the list of Holocaust victims at Yad Vashem. I repeatedly got the words Jemenshaf. At first, I didn't even know how to spell it, yet the word flowed from my pen. I kept coming up different variations in my head, but Jemenshaf continued slashing at me. Later that evening, I frantically searched the database that couldn't find anyone with that last name. I was so disappointed. I searched everywhere but kept getting blanks. Still, the word was screaming in my head. So at midnight, frustrated and sad, I decided to see if Jemenshaf was a name at all. What I discovered gave me chills. Gemeinschaft was first coined by a German sociologist in the late 1800s. It means community. The doctrine of Gemeinschaft is about a living organism, a real and organic community where people are connected to each other because of beliefs, culture ties, or other identifying markers. In Gemeinschaft, everyone matters, everyone is equal, and everyone has something to contribute to the whole. Gemeinschaft transcends society. And when you are part of this community, wherever you are, you're recognized as being an intrinsic member of it. It's about the beloved community, one where there are no barriers that separate us. I felt like my guides were sending me a message that was more important than a last name. I'd still like to do more regression work because I feel that there's so much more that I need and want to learn. But in the meantime, I'm going to take this message to heart and see where it takes me. Certainly, the community that we created at Omega for German chef in the 10th degree. Cindy Frado. Dr. Weiss says, although her pain lessened and her sleeping improved, the striking aspect of Cindy's regression was the extraordinarily level and acuity of detail. She could smell, see, feel, taste, hear that cattle car. She was ministering to a Jewish Holocaust family, and in this life, she is in fact a minister. Once again, tending to her flock, once again, grace and dignity. Our souls may take on a million different forms. We can become lion or dandelion, plant or person. If we have assumed a human form, we can be any color, any race, any sex. Whichever form we choose underneath the surface, we are exactly the same. We are all connected. We are all the same substance and energy, born of the same source, composed of the same spiritual material. It really is senseless to continue to afflict ourselves with countless wars and violence. Because we harm ourselves whenever we harm one another. Nazis have reincarnated as Jews and German Jews as American Christians, just as in Cindy's two lifetimes. We have been the murderers and the murdered, the violent and the victim of violence. If we've had a lifetime of being hurtful, then we have also had a lifetime of being a monk who would never harm even an ant. And now we are living somewhere in between, learning about balance. This is how we evolve. We are often pulled back into the bodies of our enemies to teach us the truth that skin color, nationality, religion, gender are external trappings that do not belong to the soul. Hatred distorts reality. We have to learn from the sides. When we are born into our enemies' bodies, what choice do we have but to love them? We see their helpless little babies. We watch them tending to their aging grandparents, worrying about having enough food or shelter, and dealing with the same thousand details of everyday life that we do. We recognize that they are us. With this wisdom comes peace. Our community, our true Gemeinschaft, is the entire human community and beyond. Once we look into the eyes of another and see ourselves looking back, we will be able to create a heaven on this earth. So beautiful, absolutely delightful. All right, everybody. So many lessons to be learned, so much to be wowing at, to marvel at. But yes, it's time for us to get centered, balanced, aligned. Today, I'm guided to do a deep going into a mental being. So those of you who are prepared for this short guided meditation and long in-depth meditation on your own in your sleep strands, if you can afford that in the morning at 7, then go ahead now. The others can probably see this on YouTube and do it later at their comfort time when they think they have an hour and a half for healing. Yesterday also I was guided, and after the session, I opened my Akashic records and slept in it. And so much healing happened. And when I woke up, I closed my records. So for me, Akashic, that's why it works, because I truly believe in PLR, but for PLR, I need a regressionist's voice. And for Akashic, I can do it on my own. So today also, I'm going to go the PLR way and help you to go deeper into your being. So those of you who are ready can be logged in the call. Those of you who aren't ready to do this can join the call later on YouTube. Take a comfortable position. Lie down or settle in a comfortable position on your recliners or chair or whatever is comfortable. Take a deep breath in and a deeper breath out. Once more. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deeper breath in. And a deeper breath out. Now you've slowed down your breathing automatically and without having to really think about your breath, you are going deeper and deeper. It's time to go deeper in your mind levels. And for this, imagine that a beautiful white cloud has come in near your body, and your sofas, recliners, or your beds have become that cloud. And this cloud is enveloping you, hugging you from all directions, so beautifully, so cozily, that you're absolutely cozy in there. And you're feeling like you're on the softest, beautiful carpet. And this carpet is not just below your feet, but it's next to your body. Wherever this cloud is touching, you feel so comfortably rested. This cloud has this power to be even taken upon you like maybe a duvet cover to protect you from upper winds or any kind of discomfort, to keep you warm inside. Now you are entirely covered in this cloud. Even your face has a beautiful layer over it. It's got space for you to breathe, so you're not claustrophobic, but it's protecting you. So any external heat, pressure, light is coming, and you want to be in your world, you're now in a beautiful world of your own creation. Now, with the help of this wonderful new environment of coziness, you're ready to go deeper into your levels. And before we go deeper into our levels, let's pray to our angel guardians, masters, teachers, and loved ones to help us in our inner journey. As we go deep inside, when I count from 20 to 1, we will gradually be settled, balanced, aligned, and drift off into a trance-like sleep state, wherein automatically our masters, our teachers, our loved ones will help us reflect as to what's happening in our life. So we'll keep the questions very clear. 20. You're going deeper in you. 19. You've further taken a step down into your inner world. Step 18. Deeper and deeper. 17. You're more calm, more relaxed. 16. Automatically you're descending down. 15. More harmonious. 15. You're going down and down. 16. Your ascension is there, but you're not there. So you're realizing about it. 15. As you go deeper and deeper, keep observing the depth of your being. If the counting helps, you can use it on your own. If not, just keep going deeper and deeper. Leave the sound of the count, and on your own, find the inner depths of your being, knowing that the wisdom lies there, and your masters would be able to get through to you in your this state of trance. Have a magical revelation. Be blessed.